Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi flying solo. Before we get started, want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Too Cool T-Shirt Quilts. You can go to toocooltshirtquilts.com/slash pretty lies and alibis. Check them out. They'll know we sent you, and we really appreciate their support. So, real quick, just one update about Lori. She has a hearing scheduled now for May 19th at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. This is a motion to find good cause to continue trial and prevent improper severance. As you know, if you listened last night, they are wanting now to join those trials in January and essentially kind of move her right to a speedy trial aside. And they've got some case law backing it up. You can go check out last night's episode where we break down that filing for that. And if you guys can't tell, I'm suffering some serious jet lag, guys. I've never done well with time change and flying all night. And man, my body's like, girl, what did you do? What did you do to us? It's all right, though. I will look forward to sleepy time tonight. All right. So I want to take a minute and tell you guys about CrimeCon. I really did not know what to expect when I went. I have never been. It was my first year, and man, am I glad at the very last minute I decided to go. Not only just to meet people that we've dealt with online, like Nate Eaton, and retweeted a lot of his stuff, looked to him for a lot of insight into this case. Um, Scott Reich, who I've done a little collaboration with him before in the past, just all these different people that you guys know and follow related, especially to Lori Vallow's case, but our listeners and getting to meet people that actually are the ones who choose to listen to us. It was just so amazing. I'm going to try something new here. If you're on YouTube, I am learning how to go outside the box a little bit with this streaming service that we have. So I'm going to add some pictures to the stream for those of you that don't have social media and did not see what I posted. Now, CrimeCon is packed. It is wall to wall people. I mean, you can move around and stuff, but you feel like you're hanging around with a bunch of friends you don't know. Everybody's talking about true crime. And I had somebody ask, what do you guys just go and look at really gory stuff? And no, that's not it. These are just people who are truly passionate about justice and victims and family rights and just all the good things when you follow true crime that people seem to bond over. And it was really cool to see people meeting in person for the first time that you might have formed a friendship with online and groups and just all that. It was just really, really fun. So the picture, if you're on YouTube, man, this is probably one of my favorite pictures from the entire weekend. As you can see, we got Joseph Scott Morgan, Lori Hellis, Kathy Russin. We got Julie over there, Hidden True Crime, Kay and Larry. And meeting Kay and Larry, I have to say, because I know they are so dear to a lot of our listeners' hearts and ours. Absolutely some of the most precious people I've ever met in my life. They just ooze love. And it is so apparent how much they love JJ and Charles, and I really enjoyed talking to them this weekend. I have to say, Larry reminds me a lot of my pop, my grandpa, who's no longer with us, but he talks to everybody. I mean, you never saw Larry go from A to B. He went from A to like 2 feet, talk to somebody, 2 feet, talk to somebody. They're just really, really sweet people, and I hope this is not the last time I get to see them in person. So I'm just gonna shuffle through some of these pictures here, and there's me and Kathy Russin with Hidden True Crime, and Scott Reich. It was really, really cool to hang out with Scott and Julie and Frank. His crew, if you watch his show, he talks about those guys a lot. Just the nicest people. And I have to say, Scott is super easy to talk to. He's a very interesting man that has a ton of knowledge, a lot of insight. And I just really, really loved doing the live with him there. It was so much fun. And hopefully, we're going to start doing that maybe more on a regular basis. He's really into the Murdoch case. I am too. And let's see here. I'm trying to flip through some of these pictures. Let's see this. Okay, so it's not showing me who's on this I can't see it on my end. I hope it's showing for you guys. He's from Dateline, by the way. And, there's Styx from Live PD. If you guys watch Live PD, he was in, Tulsa, in the Tulsa part of that, and now Law and Crime produces his podcast, which is called Cop Tales and Cocktails, and, you guys should definitely go check that out. Styx a really nice guy. There's Nate Eaton. I have to say him and his wife are the sweetest people. They are so friendly and just easy to talk to, very, very sweet, and, I told Nate that I blame his little cute reporter daughter, Emmy, for my new crumble cookie addiction because she's the one that did the little report on him, and I get them all the time now. Got to meet Dan Abrams of Law and Crime Network. Super nice guy. There's Mr. Shane Bishop, producer from Dateline. Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about CrimeCon is everybody is just there and they're happy. These guys were so willing to meet their fans and take time to talk to their fans, and just really awesome. Nate and Kay and Larry had a breakout session where Nate talked to them about the case, and Larry and Kay both told some cute little stories about JJ when he was little, and the audience was able to ask questions. It was really it drives it home when you're sitting in this huge ballroom and it's packed to capacity with people that are passionate about this case. And then up on the screen, they had a big picture that was Charles, JJ, Tylee, and Tammy, just huge pictures on both sides of the stage. And, a lot of times we get so caught up in the little tidbits of this case and Lori and antics and rumor. And then, you see that and it really drives home why Kay and Larry have to be at CrimeCon. So, and then Chris Hansen, picture with him. He is the guy that did, I think it was called To Catch a Predator on Dateline, where they would catch people who were communicating with underage kids. And then Nate did another session the last day. He was actually, I think, the last speaker, maybe in that ballroom before they started breaking down Podcast Row. This was in the same room as Podcast Row, which I'll explain in a minute. He just did another kind of a question and answer session about Lori and Chad. And I think I talked about this on the last episode, but he gave a few interesting tidbits that maybe it seems Chad has woken up and realized, wow, here I am and I'm in jail. And maybe not so much a happy marriage anymore, although Lori, it seems, is still very committed. And we know that from the arraignment when asked what she wanted to be called, and it was Daybell, although John Pryor refers to her as Valo. And this picture here, Joseph Scott Morgan got together with the amazing ladies who do the Piketon Massacre podcast. They're the hosts. And man, learned a lot of little great details about that case. We'll be covering that when George the Fourth and Billy, the dad, go to trial later this year. Learned some interesting little tidbits about the case. It's just overwhelming, the evidence against these people, but it's also overwhelming how they went for 2 years without being arrested. And one of the podcast hosts says she firmly believes had they not moved back from Alaska to Piketon, they might have gotten away with that murder. And then just some listeners here that I'm showing some pictures of just had some great conversations with people that support us. And we really just have some of the most amazing listeners ever. Very grateful to have met everybody. For me, it was nice to see Kathy Russin. She and I go way back. We were in the Jodi Arias trial courtroom together years and years ago. She now is an executive producer for Law and Crime and does a lot of their coverage of cases with Law and Crime. And then the other thing, if you guys remember when we did the episode on the Night Stalker, we used a lot from that Netflix series that they did. And Frank Salerno, one of the investigators, was there, gave a talk. Super nice guy. Some of the other people that were there was the father of JonBenet Ramsey. He did a session. It was titled Breaking 25 Years of Myth or something to that effect. He also gave an interview with Nate Eaton that Nate put out earlier today. I retweeted it. And then Daniel Robinson's dad, we've covered that case, I believe out of Arizona, where they found the car, never have found him. His dad has headed up a lot of search efforts. I think now they're hitting that part where these search efforts are expensive. So Podcast Row, what was that? Well, it was a huge, humongous ballroom with tables and booths set up all throughout. And just you had your different podcasts there representing. They had giveaways, they were selling their merchandise, a lot of really cool photo opportunities. Scott Reich had a nice little booth set up. You're kind of in front of what looks like a lineup thing where it shows your height, and then they would take your picture and you would be able to go download that picture right there. People were handing out flyers. In fact, the grandparents of Libby from the Delphi case, they were there as well as her sister. They were handing out flyers for awareness, that kind of thing. So it was just really interesting. It spread between the Paris Hotel and the I think it was Bali's Casino. I forget the now. It wasn't the Bellagio, but they're kind of side by side. So each hotel hosted different things. There were different tiers of tickets you could buy. So your standard got you into most of the breakout sessions, podcast row, all that good stuff. And then your VIP, you got into the more desirable events with like Keith Morrison and the Dateline crew and Nancy Grace. So you have kind of that extra level. Next year is Orlando. We definitely will be there. And I also have to say, Joseph Scott Morgan, I kind of hung out at the long crime table with Kathy when I wasn't walking around. He was right behind us. Him and his wife, amazing people, such a warm gentleman, and his wife is just sweet as can be. They are the cutest little couple. She was helping him pass out all of his little goodies he had. He gave away little bags of coffee that said body bags on it, and it was actually a cousin who owns that coffee company. I tweeted it out, so go check them out. So yeah, it was just really really cool. I honestly didn't know what to expect, and I was blown away. It's really well done. If you're a big true crime fan and you think you can save up in a year, please do come to Orlando. I think it's going to be just absolutely amazing, and can't wait to get back there and meet more of our listeners. So the next thing that I want to talk, oh, the other thing is doing the live with Hidden True Crime, and we had sorry, my dog is barking at at probably a leaf blowing down the road. We had a live with Lauren from Hidden True Crime, Julie Holden from Redactions by Julie, and Lori Hellis from the Lori Vallow story. That's on Hidden True Crime's YouTube. Go check it out. We had a blast. We really had no plan going into that live. We just piled on the bed and kind of talked about whatever came to mind. And it was just really, really fun to collaborate just on a very low key, casual level with some awesome, awesome true crime minds out there. Some of the best, in my opinion. And definitely hope to hook up with all those ladies. And I also have to say a big hello to Janine Hansen from Rexburg. You guys probably know her if you're active on the Facebook group. She's very close with Kay and Larry. She is the most precious, tiniest, beautiful little firecracker full of love. And one of the highlights of my trip was meeting her. So, anyways, that's kind of how CrimeCon was. If you have any questions, you can tweet me, email, inbox, whatever. Real quick, we're going to finally start this Casey White and Vicky White case. They're not related, by the way. So if you guys are new to this, these two are on the run. Vicky was a corrections officer at the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office in their jail. And Casey is a very violent criminal, and they have run off. And it seems by all means that she has facilitated his escape from jail. So we're just going to give a little backstory of what we know. And I'm very curious to follow this. It's always amazing because we've seen these kind of cases before where a corrections officer is under a spell and they totally break protocol in the biggest way you can, and form a relationship with these violent inmates and will help them escape. And if not, maybe have an affair with the inmate. And, I was thinking today, why would this woman who's a 17-year veteran of the sheriff's office, who was very near retirement, I believe this week she was supposed to have met about getting her pension and everything. And, I think it goes back to, you get vulnerable people who maybe lacks something in their life. And then you get somebody who's very deceptive and it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing where they provide them with something they're needing. And then the intentions obviously are not good, but the person, in this case would be Vicky, maybe just gets totally wrapped up in it. And before you know it, you make decisions you never would have made in the real world had you thought twice. And now this woman has a warrant out for her arrest. So, how did this happen? She told a booking officer that she was escorting Casey to the county courthouse for a mental health evaluation. And number one, the move was against protocol for Casey, who was meant to have at least two guards escorting him at all times. So, right out of the gate, somebody there should have said, whoa, you got to have a second person. That might have changed everything, but it didn't. There was no scheduled mental health evaluation for him, by the way. She did tell the booking officer that she was dropping him off and then she had an appointment. She did have an appointment, she just didn't go. So inmates confirmed to authorities that Casey and Vicky were in kind of a romantic relationship. And I looked and she divorced in 1991 after a really brief 3-year marriage. And from what I could find, it doesn't look like she ever remarried. So the sheriff said that Casey was handcuffed and shackled in the back of the patrol car when he left. They just released some surveillance video today. I took some screenshots here if you're on Twitter. It's really hard to see him. This guy is 6'9". It's not like he's going to be able to blend in with any crowd. And you see her there. She's opening the door for him. He comes out and then they leave. So the what was he in prison for? This is a very violent man. He was in prison for attempted murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, first-degree robbery, first-degree burglary, third-degree burglary, breaking and entering a vehicle, animal cruelty for shooting a dog, and attempting to elude police. There was a police chase. I think speeds were in excess of 100 miles an hour, and finally he was caught and ultimately was sentenced to 75 years in prison. But back in 2020, he confessed in prison to murdering Connie Ridgway in 2015, which was a cold case until he confessed. So they charged him with 2 counts of capital murder, 1 count of murder during a first degree burglary, and 1 count for murder for financial gain. And he said he was only a hired hitman, but they never got any kind of reason that he was hired. So he pled ultimately, even though he confessed, he pled not guilty by reason of mental disease, and he had been moved to the Lauderdale County Jail to await trial. But initially, when he requested to move to that jail, authorities found a shank, a homemade knife hidden in the shower, and they fully believed that he intended to use that to force somebody to let him go. The other scary thing is he has vowed to kill his ex-girlfriend if he ever were to have gotten out. And also the the lady that he murdered, Connie Ridgway, her son today, obviously gave a statement. How does this happen? He's very dangerous. We need to get him. So here's the timeline that we know as of right now. At 9:20 a.m. on the day that they escaped, Assistant Director Vicky White tells a deputy to prepare inmate Casey White for transport to the courthouse. The deputy removes White from his cell, takes him to booking, handcuffs him, and shackles his legs. At 9:41 a.m., Vicky leaves the detention center with Casey and heads to the courthouse for a mental health evaluation that never was scheduled. She told the booking officer that she is the only deputy available who is firearms certified, and she's dropping him off to other deputies there at the courthouse. And Vicky said she's then going to Med Plus for her personal appointment, which we know she never made. At 9:49 a.m., surveillance video caught Vicky's police cruiser parked at the Florence Square Shopping Center parking lot 8 minutes after leaving the jail. So there was not enough time for them to even attempt to try to come to the courthouse, according to what she said. And Sheriff Rick Singleton said there's no way that they attempted. So that's kind of when they started to realize something was up. 11:34 a.m., a Florence Police Department officer spots her cruiser. But so you got to consider they left at 9:41 a.m. with her by herself. At 3:30 p.m., the booking officer reports to administration they've been trying to contact Vicky to check on her and that her phone is going directly to voicemail. The officer also says Casey was not returned to the detention center with the other inmates, so they're on the run. This past Friday was supposed to be her last day on the job, and he said, the sheriff said that she talked about retiring and going to the beach for a few months. She also this is interesting, and I think that this may go into that premeditation. She just recently sold her home 12 days before the escape for $95,550, which was way less than the market value, and they believe she might have gotten cash for that. So, it's easier I wouldn't say easier to live off the grid if you're not using any kind of a debit or credit card. If they're smart, hopefully they're not, they don't have cell phones, who knows where they are? They had a really big head start. You're looking at 6 hours before anybody really started putting 2 and 2 together. They were last seen April 29th in Rogersville, Alabama, in a gold or copper 2007 Ford Edge with Alabama license plates. Here's the scary part. They're believed to be armed with an AR-15 and a shotgun. Now, I'm sure Vicky might have had in her head this out of this world scenario where they're gonna escape and grow old together, but here's the thing, this guy is a violent criminal who has admitted to stabbing somebody who did nothing to him other than, him allegedly being ordered to kill this woman for money. I know that she has facilitated his escape, it seems, and has planned this for a while. In fact, they were communicating when she was not at work, and I was thinking, how? It's not like, they monitor the phone calls, but if you use the email service, it's monitored, but she could have done it under a different email address. She could have changed her name. I guess it would be easy in that regard to communicate with him when she's not at work. But her life is in danger, even though she's done wrong. This man probably is not going to want to be caught alive. He has no regard for human life. The U.S. Marshals who may come across them or catch them, I don't think this is going to be some very peaceful surrender, and, that part of it is terrifying to think about innocent people possibly being in his line of fire, or Vicky, even though she's done wrong. Somebody like him would not think twice about using her to, try to get away, or if she's had second thoughts and says, "Hey, I think I wanna go home," somebody like that, it's not gonna be easy. Investigators do not think that they've made it across the border or caught a flight anywhere. He's 6'9". She is 5'5". They are kind of an odd couple. When you're 6'9", you cannot just go walk down a crowded street and blend in. Wherever they are, they have to be just off the grid. It won't take long, I don't think. They will get them. It's just I worry once they are found, what comes of that. Ultimately, coworkers are just shocked, completely shocked. She never had any issues in the 17 years she has worked corrections, and they say this is not the Vicky White they know, but, manipulators are very, very good at telling people what they wanna hear, making them think they are who they're portraying for whatever reason they're doing it, and before you know it, you're in deep, and I think that's what's happened to poor Vicky here. I don't wanna say poor Vicky, but man, you kinda see it with, corrections officers sometimes hooking up with inmates. Susan Smith, we talked about her recently on the podcast. She had affairs with male corrections officers. This stuff happens, but man, it's next level when you break somebody like that out and facilitate them to escape prison. So, I'm gonna be watching this one really close, guys. I have alerts on my phone, so hopefully they find these guys soon and everything is peaceful, but I'm not betting the farm on that one. All right, guys, tomorrow, probably going to break down this new Wagner hearing. A lot of stuff was kind of brought up that we did not know at this hearing, and see what else we can get into tomorrow. In the meantime, I hope you have a really good night, and we will see you soon.